What's good, YouTube? I am Traywan Maddox, and I'm here with
Ashton Yeager.
Now, Ashton is a 2025 college recruit. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what position you play, and the school's recruiting you?
Yeah, so my name's Ashton. I'm from Findlay, Ohio. They like to call it home of Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
I play defensive line. I started out at end. I'm kind of starting to move more interior. A couple of schools recruiting me. Toledo was my first offer, and then I got Bowling Green. I've taken some visits to Virginia Tech, West Virginia, Northwestern, Miami of Ohio, a couple other schools. Those are the main ones, though, I would say, that are focused right now. And so, yeah, those are the schools that are at the top of the list right now.
Okay. You already alluded to it. When I first met you, I was an intern for the Findlay Strength and Conditioning.
Yeah.
I was an assistant coach. I met you and a couple of the other guys. When I first met you, it would be easy to mistake you for a tight end. Like you said, you were defensive end. Now you're moving on interior. That was from your sophomore year. You just finished your junior year. Now you're going to your senior year. Tell me about that adjustment going from outside to inside.
So outside is a lot different. I could get away with being 220 pounds, 230 pounds.
Yeah.
I was fine out there. You know, I still got pushed around a little bit on those inside stunts, but then this year I gained like 30 to 40 pounds, and I felt pretty good about it. I moved to interior and then played a little outside, but moving to interior is so much different. You constantly have two guys on you.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And then just the magnitude of like how much different the speed of the game is on the inside. Like, there's guys pulling and whatnot. Normally those tackles, unless they're running like a play where they're pulling the tackles, they're staying on you and you're kind of based on them, so it's one-on-one the whole game.
Yeah.
And inside you have to think about everything, man. It's so fast. There's guys moving the entire game, so the biggest thing was probably gaining that weight and then being able to kind of hold my own in the trenches.
Okay. And that's just the tactical perspective. You haven't even gotten into how you were able to put on that weight.
Yeah.
What was that process like? What was that diet like?
You know, I already ate a lot, but then I kind of just like picked it up even more, and I just was eating everything, man. Like, I had probably 6 or 7 months to gain this weight, so I was just packing it on however I could. Not necessarily all good weight, which that's going to happen.
It happens.
But that's what I'm working on now, is kind of trimming down that weight into muscle and then getting myself to be a little faster too.
Yeah.
So the process was not fun, but, you know, it worked out, and it was good for me this year, I would say.
Yeah, I'll say, like, a lot of people who never had to gain weight, or even just, like, non-athletes in general, never really had to, like, worry about the process of gaining weight. For most people, it's like losing weight. Do you feel like when it came to gaining, it was kind of like, okay, nice, I get to eat whatever I want now? Or did you ever have to, like, think, like, okay, how can I get X amount of calories in for, like, somebody who may not eat as much as a defensive tackle would?
Yeah, so you know, honestly, I'm just going to say that I was eating everything that I could. Like, anything I had the chance to eat, I was eating it, just because in my head I was like, I need to gain this weight, and I need to gain it fast. So if I kind of just sit around and pick what I'm going to eat, I'm not going to be able to do that. So anytime I had the chance to eat, I was going to eat, and I was going to eat a lot. Like, that's the biggest thing. And obviously I was lifting, but lifting puts on weight, but I would say eating is like 80% of the weight gain. So. Yeah,
for sure. I got my bachelor's in strength and conditioning. Yeah. I'm currently a personal trainer. I tell my clients all the time, about 70 to 75% of it is just like what you're putting in your body. Mm-hmm. About 25% of it is obviously working out and everything, but like none of it means anything if you're not getting that sleep with it either. What would you say is the biggest adjustment that you've made from being a freshman, sophomore to being a junior seeder? Now you're a leader on the team.
Mm-hmm. Mental toughness and adaptability. So the mental toughness part of it is kind of like, you know, we left at 6 a.m. You know that. You were in there. Not everybody wants to get up and do that. My freshman year, I was kind of like, dreading it, getting out of bed.
Yeah.
Now I wake up, and honestly, I'm excited to go lift. Like, I want to go in there with my team. I want to get stronger. I want to better myself. And that's probably the biggest thing that has changed, was me being the person that wanted to lift instead of just like, oh, this is a chore to me. This is like something I have to do. So that was the biggest part for sure.
So you say you definitely had to become more of a leader.
Yeah.
Here's my honest review of the 2023 college football season. This might be the most locked in I have been for college football. It started even before this season, as I was really following recruiting this year. I found myself following a lot of recruiting battles very closely, and one of the ones I really paid attention to was Aaron Scott's commitment. I saw that dude pull an Ohio State jersey out of a Michigan book bag, and that really didn't sit too well with a lot of people.
I'm upset.
And kicking off the season was very exciting. Before the season, I really thought that Texas had a really good shot at beating Alabama, and they actually did it. But week 1 might have been even more exciting than week 2, as we got to see what Colorado had in store. And I don't know about you, but the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, Colorado was very entertaining to me. Before then, I never watched a Colorado or Colorado State game, but I found myself staying up till 2 in the morning to watch it. One team that really surprised me and I found myself rooting for was the Missouri Tigers. It was a wild ending to the Missouri versus Kansas State game, and that field goal was crazy. Before the season started, I predicted both Washington and Texas to win their conferences, and they did not disappoint me. Washington might have even had both of the most exciting games of the season in games against Oregon at home and in the final Pac-12 championship game. I even found myself being entertained by random weekday games that Houston was playing. A couple of teams that I was disappointed in was Wisconsin. I really thought they would take that level up, but it was only Luke Fickell's first year as head coach, and I really had higher expectations of Notre Dame coming into the season. It was really refreshing to see Ohio State have an elite defense. The quarterback play wasn't what we thought it would be, but Ohio State fans have been spoiled by elite quarterback play. This season was extremely exciting, and I really can't wait to see the college football playoff, where I expect to see the most competitive college football playoffs that we've seen so far. So you would say that you kind of had to grow up fast in a sense, going from being at freshman, sophomore, to now you're going to be a senior next year.
Yeah.
It's flown by, huh?
It is. It's gone unbelievably fast, and I know all the seniors, like my freshman year, they were like the coaches would tell them, what would be one thing you would tell a freshman or sophomore? They would always say, don't take this for granted. It goes super fast. And
yeah.
You kind of just, as a freshman, you're like, I got 4 more years. I'm going to shrug that off.
Yeah.
And now it's like, holy crap, I'm going to be a senior this year. I'm thinking about graduating early, so I could graduate in literally a year. And I'm just like, I can't put that together in my head, but I'm ready for it. You know?
Yeah. So you're, like I said, you still got half of your junior year left. You're going into your senior year. You're being recruited by D1 programs, Bowling Green, Toledo, going on visits to Virginia Tech, Power 5 school. You had a few other teammates before you who were getting recruited to those bigger schools. Was that able to prepare you at all, or not really?
Yeah, a lot, because let's say Luke. He's probably one of my biggest role models, just because I came in as a freshman. He would have been a junior. I was going up against him every day in practice, and I knew, like, if I wanted to get to the level where he's at, I'm going to have to play with him. I'm going to have to practice with him. I'm going to have to try to do everything that he does, because that's kind of where I need to be. And so having him around kind of showed me and set a bar almost to where I wanted to be physically and mentally, and especially mentally, because I think that was the biggest part of his game was mental toughness and actually just being smart. Like, he knew the game so well. So being around him definitely helped my recruiting for sure, and kind of just knowing about stuff like that. Nice.
Like you said, you were battling with him pretty much every day at practice. Now he's a true freshman over at Ohio State. He's doing his thing there. What are you able to, like, pass on, like, some of the knowledge that you gained from battling with him in those battles on, like, the guys that you practice against now?
Yeah, for sure. I think I would just tell them, like, in practice, me and him, no matter what, we wouldn't just be like, all right, let's just go easy this rep. Like, we were both trying to get better. So if I see a guy that's kind of like, all right, like, let's just chill out, I'm like, no, let's keep going, bro. Like, this is going to help us win on Fridays, and this is going to prepare us for the game. So, yeah, I would say that definitely helped.
Nice. So you're Findlay, Ohio, born and raised, correct?
Well, I was born in Columbus, and then after a year we moved here, but I've been here since I was
all the memories, Findlay, Ohio. Me, I'm from Cleveland, so being in Cleveland, all we know over there, like college-wise, is Ohio State. I played football for Glenville High School. We produced Troy Smith, Cardell Jones, Marshawn, all those guys. And seeing those guys, like, ball out, I remember seeing, like, my senior year, seeing, like, Marshawn Lattimore ball out for Ohio State. Like, everybody just wants to go to Ohio State. We're building that pipeline back up now with Bryce West and DeMarion Witten going there. But for you, being in Findlay, Ohio, you got Toledo right there. Bowling Green. Obviously, you're in Ohio. You still got Ohio State. You got Michigan just like, an hour or so up the road. What was your dream school that you wanted to go to?
I think every kid, or most of the kids, if you're not different in Ohio, obviously want to go to Ohio State.
Yeah.
But I've even thought about this. Like, if I go play at Toledo or Bowling Green, I'm going to be probably playing a school like Ohio State or Ohio State, because I know Bowling Green in like 2024, 2025, they play at the Shoe.
Yeah.
So even just like if I go to Bowling Green, I just thought about like I'm going to be playing where I've always dreamed of playing on like that field. Even if I don't play for Ohio State, like dreams are coming to reality quick, and it's just surreal to kind of think about that part of it for sure. When
you really like look at it, no matter what. Like, you know how it's Power 5 now, like with the Pac-12 going away, they say it's like Power 4 or whatever. You're playing Division I. You're going to be playing Division I high-level football. Less than 2% of the kids in the country going to do that. Has that kind of like put more of a chip on your shoulder? Has that raised the level of expectations that you have for yourself at all?
I would say it's put a chip on my shoulder in a good way, just kind of to push myself even harder, because like if I want to go play and I want to succeed and play like in college, I need to be doing what I'm doing every day as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely after that offer, I remember the Toledo offer, the first thing Coach Candle said to me was, now keep working, like don't let this slow you down. And so I was like, all right, so now I need to just keep going. Like some kids will get content.
Yeah.
I wasn't content. I wanted to keep growing, and I wanted to keep bettering myself.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's kind of helped me, honestly.
Now, do you think with everything going on, you're being recruited, you're going on visits and all that stuff, do you think that takes away from your high school experience? Now in today's day of college football, you see guys like Luke Montgomery, who goes and like early enrolls, only spends like half their senior year in high school. Do you think for that, all the things that goes on with being a high-level prospect, does it take away from anything?
I think it's all about kind of balancing what you're doing. So the whole thing about graduating early is, yeah, you're giving up your second half of your senior year, but like what you're getting in return is something that not many people get to do. Like you're going and practicing with a Division I team for 6 months or 5 to 6 months, getting a step ahead on some other kids that are not going to graduate early. And so it's like what you're getting in return kind of makes up for the fact that you're leaving early and makes up for those experiences. But I would say just managing your time, like while you're being recruited. Like I still hang out with my friends all the time. I go fishing and stuff like that and have some fun. So just managing your time is the most important thing, so it doesn't take away too much.
Okay, speaking of time management and having those responsibilities, the landscape of college football is changing a lot with NIL. That's probably the biggest thing in the game right now. Theoretically speaking, if you could have any NIL brand deal that you could, what would you choose and why?
That's a good one, because I could go the food route, but now I'm thinking like, dang. I'm going to go with Nike. Just because like I wear Nike all the time. Like I got Nike shoes on right now. That's like probably my favorite brand, so just kind of to have a Nike NIL deal would be cool, probably.
Yeah, that'd be tough. I would say, honestly, I asked somebody else this question, and he said he would try to partner with like some type of airline and getting like flights and stuff like that.
I thought about that. I was just thinking that.
I think the best one I seen was CJ Stroud's NIL deal. He had it with like some local car company in Columbus.
Yeah.
And he got to like drive a new car like every month. And like I'm a car guy, so that's tough.
Yeah, I was also thinking, God, what was it? If I think about it,
it'll come back to you. And speaking of like businesses and everything like that, I was trying to do a little bit of research, find out a couple of things before the interview started. You have your family; they own some kind of like business, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So I think the first time we opened a business was we did a leaf removal and pickup, and so we did that for a couple of years, and then we got a dumpster business, and now my mom actually right down the block down there has a men's store.
Nice.
And so I kind of work there during the week, help her out a little bit, get some extra money.
Okay.
And so my parents are extremely busy with that, so it can make it difficult for them to kind of get me some places and stuff like that and come with me on recruiting, stuff like that. But they're normally pretty flexible with it, and they figure out a way to do it. So I think it's great that they're doing that, and it's been fun. So.
Okay. How do you think that has developed who you are as a person?
I think it's my entrepreneurship inside of me. Like, I know I have that, and with my cousin, he owns like 6 businesses, and so he's kind of influenced me there. So I know when I'm older and out of college football that I know what I want to do. I want to open a couple businesses and kind of just figure out stuff on my own and use whatever degree I get, whether it's business or something else, to kind of do what my family has done and open a few businesses like that and see what I can do with that. So I think it's influenced me in that way a lot.
Nice. So we already obviously know who you are as a football player. You talked a little bit about outside the field, in the classroom, things you want to do. But who are you as a person? What are some of your hobbies?
I have a lot of hobbies, actually. My family kind of says that I jump around too much with the stuff I do.
Yeah.
But, I like to golf a lot. I love fishing. You remember Reese, right? We go fishing all the time. We actually went 2 weeks ago. So golfing, fishing. I've actually just started doing photography, just like sports games and stuff like that. Shout out to my guy Carson Young. He helps me with that, lets me use his camera, and so he's pretty cool for that.
That's tough.
But I think I've been enjoying that a lot, just taking pictures at basketball games, going home, editing them.
Yeah.
So, I have a lot of different hobbies, and I just like to try new things. Like, if you don't try something, you're never going to know if you like it or not.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think from being in Cleveland, obviously born and raised, and coming out here, this is the only other place I've lived besides Cleveland. When I first came out here, it was so much different. It was so much to get used to. Obviously, been in a completely different environment, but those experiences kind of molded me into who I am. Mm-hmm. And being where you're at, the positions you're in, you get to get a lot of different experiences. Not a lot of other people get to get. Visiting colleges, doing this, doing that. What do you think your best experience on a college visit was?
I think it would have to be either Bowling Green or Toledo. I mean, even though I went to Virginia Tech, that's a super fun game and all that.
Yeah.
Their entrance is awesome, but just the personal connections I have at Bowling Green and Toledo, knowing that there's a school that really wants me to come play for them. So probably just game day visits and just talking with the coaches is the best experience I've had. I know Bowling Green, whenever I go there, I feel really welcome. Toledo, I walk in, they know my name, they all know me, they say what's up.
Yeah.
And we have good conversations. So that's probably something I wouldn't trade out a really good game experience for, just the personal connections with coaches. More
personable, and you feel more at home there.
Yeah.
What do you think? Obviously, we know the major things, location away from home, development, things like that. But for typical prospects, but for you personally, Ashton, what is the most important factor that comes to your recruitment?
Like I said, I want to open some businesses, so a really good business program is something that I think is super important, because as long as, if you're not a Ben Roethlisberger or another great NFL player that's not going to play in the league for 15 years, you got to have a backup plan.
You got to look at it full picture.
Yeah, so I want that degree, and I want to know that it's going to prepare me to open a business, and so that's probably one of the biggest things outside of football that's going to help make my decision for me.
A big thing that comes with sports is there's a lot of things that go on, people don't really realize. It wasn't until I got to college that I saw really what entails into college football. You got film, you got this, you got that, you got winter conditioning, which was brutal.
Oh yeah.
I came in January 2020 to Findlay, so my first experience with the team was winter workouts.
Yeah.
And that was kicking me, it was crazy. Do you think that the high school strength program that you have, which has a lot of similarities to University of Findlay, which is a college program, do you think that will better prepare you for once you get to school?
Yeah, Coach Avery's a great guy. He knows this stuff. He's been around Division I, Division II college programs, and so obviously it's not going to be to the full magnitude of a college just because resources and stuff like that. But when we go in there, we're working out. Compared to some other high schools, I'm not saying every high school. I know there's schools that work hard, but it's different. I know that. There's guys who have came in there coaches, college coaches, and they're you guys are a high school team doing this, and like the vibes in here are crazy. Like when we go in there, everyone's ready to work.
Yeah.
And even in the summer, like I know like going to I've seen some college workouts and stuff like that. Like I see a lot of similarities. And so I think that when I go to school, wherever I go, that I'm gonna be prepared for that and kind of know, like, I've been doing this for 3-4 years now, so I'm ready for it, whatever comes my way.
So you've been prepared for this moment. How do you think, how did it happen in terms of you moving from outside to inside? Was that more something you asked for, or was like coaches hit you up one day like, hey, this is what we're doing? How did that come about?
So honestly, I would say it's because I'm tall, but you know, most ends are around like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
I'm like 6'3", and maybe 6'3.5". So I was like, all right, I have a big base. Like most people know that like my lower body is strong.
Yeah.
So like I was like, all right, let's try it inside. We don't have a lot of huge guys this year, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna try it out. And so that's kind of how it came about. And then they kind of just moved me wherever they need me, kind of depending on the game. So,
and then that's how it is with like high school. Like not all guys are the size that you need them to be.
Yeah.
So it kind of like that kind of becomes a factor. Do you think that is that like the plan for you going forward, or
what was that?
into college, like playing inside?
Oh yeah. Yep. I don't think I'll be playing outside in college.
Okay.
I was originally recruited for that, but I think that as I'm starting to move to defensive tackle, like coaches know that and they understand that, and they're like, well, I mean, you're still performing, so we can use you.
Yeah.
Either way.
Over the past year, I've really started to take a liking to Porsches. So here's my starting lineup of my favorite Porsche vehicles. This list is in no particular order, but starting it off is the 918 Spider. This thing has a V8 engine, pushes out 608 base horsepower, and can go 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds. But the design itself is flawless. Like, it's so beautiful, and above anything, I really love the posterior of the car the most. Next up, and I don't know why I love this car so much, but it's the 959 SC. This car is like actually beautiful. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I like the boxiness of it. I like how classic it looks, and for its time, it just looks so much different than everything else that was put out around that time. But don't let the prettiness confuse you. It still comes with a V6 turbocharged engine. Next up is the Cayman 718 GT4. Now, I don't even know if I said that right, so y'all probably gonna troll me in the comments, but this car is freaking beautiful. Like, I don't know, it's just so vibrant. It has the perfect wing on it, and even without the wing, this thing still looks great, and it can go 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. Next up is the 2019 911 GT2 RS. It's just another one of those Porsches that looks very nice, but it has like insane handling ability. But every starting lineup needs 5. I only have 4. So I want you to comment down below, what should be my 5th car in this starting lineup? And we're back. So last thing we were talking about was you switching positions from outside to inside and how did it affect you going into college. And you said,
I said, I don't think it'll affect me too bad, just because, you know, I'll be doing it for 2 years now. You know, maybe if I switched this year, it would have been harder, just because I would have only had 1 year doing it. But I've been doing it for 2 years now, so I think I'll be ready for that, and I'll have good coaches along the way to kind of guide me through that.
Okay. So coming in, you were pretty much, you came in, were you a freshman in what, 2021, 2020?
It would have been 2021, yeah. Wow.
So it's like right there in the midst of COVID. How do you, and you know how COVID is affecting college football now with like eligibility, dudes playing like 7 years of football.
Yeah.
Have you been able to like experience the effects on that on your recruiting, or?
Yeah, and I think that, and then along with the transfer portal, it's like, it's taken away from high school kids for sure. Yeah. Like, a couple of those Power 5 schools I'm talking to maybe would have offered or something like that after not having the portal, but now they're like, why would we recruit these high school kids who we don't know if they're going to be good? And we have film on college guys who are coming from other schools. They just take them. But So it's definitely affected it a little bit, but I'm not worried too much about it. I know I have opportunities and places that want me, so I'll be going there and just do my thing there.
Honestly, I think it puts every team in more of a win-now mode.
Yeah.
Because obviously, a lot of guys are coaching for their jobs, and I feel like the way a lot of these athletic directors looking at it, why can't you win? You can go out and get these players who you can plug and play.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it kind of affects the product as a whole, because you have these situations where, like, let's face it, you have these situations where you have like guys like Sam Hartman, who I was really high on at Wake Forest, who goes over to Notre Dame, and I don't really think that you can really build that chemistry with a team in a few months. Like, we'll see, like, look at the guys who are in college football playoffs this year. You have you have two transfer QBs in Michael Penix Jr. and Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
And like 3 to 4 Heisman finalists were transfers, but it takes like more than 1 year. Quinn Ewers is in his second year at Texas. So is Michael Penix Jr. You have guys like Joe Burrow. He won the Heisman and Natty in his second year there. I don't think that it's easy to have that quick success in key positions like quarterback when you just bring in those transfers all the time.
It can't be. I mean, like, there's no possible way for you to build a strong, really good connection in that 3 to 4 months. So, like,
it's crazy.
I mean, it's almost like the NFL. Like, guys are moving around all the time. You're coming in. You're playing for yourself almost. It's turning into more of the NFL. Like, you're not as much of a tight-knit team as you would be, let's say, 20 years ago when guys aren't transferring and all that. So I definitely think it's affected the game.
Yeah, you're not able to build that camaraderie, that chemistry, and really establish those memories.
Yeah.
And speaking of memories, what would you say was your favorite game in high school that you've played so far?
Definitely my freshman year. It would have been our second playoff game at home.
Yeah.
And I think we played, who was it? It was a team down south, kind of close to Cincinnati. I'd have to think of it. But we had a close game with them all game. They came down the first drive, scored on us.
Yeah.
Our defense was like, man, these guys are good. They were running the ball fast. And then after that, we clamped them up. We locked them down. Our offense started rolling. We won that game. And Finley hasn't had that in a while. So, like, people were kind of like, all right, is this a team that can do something? And so, yeah, that was definitely a great memory. Winning a second playoff game at home, playing the next week when it's like -0 outside, it's freaking freezing. But that's what it's all about. So, yeah, you gotta love it.
Those October, November nights, it's about 27 degrees.
Miamisburg. That's who the team was. Yeah, nice. Miamisburg. We beat them.
Nice. 2 more questions and we gotta get you out of here.
Mm-hmm.
First off, what is that plan looking like for when you make your college decision to commit?
So I really am thinking I want to have it done before next season. You know, your senior year, you kind of want to just focus on your team and kind of that last year of high school football. So I don't want to have to think about recruiting or anything like that. I kind of just want to know where I'm going. So I would say I'm going to know where I'm going before next football season, if not before the summer.
Nice. And you seem like a guy, like, you don't really play too many games. You don't really want to go through that whole, can it be this school, can it be that school? Do you have kind of like a plan in place, like how you're going to present it, or?
I've kind of thought about it a little bit, but my parents are just like, you don't need to be too fancy with it or anything like that. I'm just gonna.
Yes, if you could do me one favor, just do not do the hat.
No, I won't be doing any of that.
That's so cliche.
I hate it.
I hate it because it's like we all know what it is. We know you're not gonna put on the first hat. You're gonna hesitate. Then you're gonna do this. I hate it. It sucks. It sucks.
It does. I don't like any of that, but.
And then even especially in this era of college football, why burn bridges? Why? When you see all these kids are going to enter the portal every year, you might lose a coach and you might enter the portal. You might lose a coach and a new coach comes in and then you threw his freaking hat off the table. You know
especially if you do that, that's going to leave bad blood with them. And then if you want to transfer there, they're going to be like, I don't really want you.
You threw our hat across the auditorium.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Last question. what are you looking forward to? And it doesn't have to be football or school, but what are you looking more forward to the most going into your college career?
I mean, this sounds pretty bad, but I'm looking forward to like getting away from home for a little bit and kind of just experiencing life on my own, because there's a lot of stuff I want to do in life, and I think having some independence and just getting out on my own and kind of figuring out life will kind of do that for me. And so I would say that's probably the thing I'm most excited for, is to just, you know, experience life, become an adult, and grow up and see what I can do. So.
Nice. Well, I wish you the best of luck. You're going to be doing great things. Looking forward to keeping in contact with you, and good luck going forward.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.